Hello, welcome back to Alli Talks, where Alli talks. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about the illusion of the right time and starting things before you're ready, and improvisation overall. So, when I'm talking about the right time, or when people throw out this idea of the right time, let's kind of dissect what the right time would even be. Let's talk about in regard to a creative project, because everything can kind of be deduced down to a creative project of some sort. So, the right time for a creative project. Okay, so in the grand scheme of everything, there's eternity, there's eternal time, and since everything is infinite, and since things are constantly changing, the best time to start a creative project or practice your creative project or indulge in creativity is the present moment, okay? And so when you're talking about, or when people talk about doing creative projects at the right time, it's not necessarily about waiting until you're attractive or waiting until you're good at it or so forth. It's more so about doing it in a form of alignment. So, alignment in the grand scheme of infinity is all about how you are perceiving the present moment. And it's about the infinity that you're aligning to in the present moment. But you can change what you're aligned to at any point in time. I would say the only time you shouldn't start a creative project, or the only time there isn't a right time to do a creative project, I think, is when your cup is empty and you don't have anything left to give to yourself. That is the only time that doing something is not the right time, from my experience. From my experience, even when I did kind of take a leap of faith, and I did things, even though I wasn't good at it, the experience alone was still valuable. Even if, I wasn't the best at that creative project. And so, right now is the right time to start the creative project. If you have the ability to do the creative project, right now is the time to do it in the present moment. So, in regards, or in relation to starting before you're ready, no one's ever really ready. Readiness is a choice. And this applies to anything creative, which is almost everything in life. So it's like, it's choice whether or not you are ready. It really is a choice. Vincent van Gogh, he probably wasn't ready to paint his paintings and create his things. He probably wasn't ready, but he had this fire in him that he would rather listen to over the fear of what if it doesn't work out. But you see, when you look at these icons throughout art and throughout creativity, none of them were really ready. They were perfect just the way they were. And it's like their life experiences shaped them to be ready at any point in time to a certain extent. So it's like, if you take philosophers, for example, you have to think about all the different thoughts and experiences they had throughout their life leading up to the moment that they came up with a philosophy, wrote it down in a way that was understandable, okay, congruent with what they wanted to convey. And so, in essence, okay, your entire life is you getting ready. Everything that you experience is you getting ready for whatever you want to bring into fruition. And only you can delegate the wisdom that you've come across and acquired throughout life. And it's only you as the artist, as the creative, will know when the right time is, but there is not technically such thing as a right time, because life is the creative project. You see, we're always creating, and so it's like the right time is now. The right time always will be now. Always. Okay? Literally. And another thing too is like a lot of these icons throughout art history, they did things that society was not ready for. Society is never going to be actually ready for innovation. Like, it will be, but it also won't be. To a certain extent, society will never actually be fully ready for innovation. Innovation happens, and it's that off-guardedness that creates innovation. If I was ready for aliens to land, right? If I was constantly prepared in a way for aliens to land, then it wouldn't be groundbreaking. The reason you break ground is because the ground is breakable. So if the ground is ready for you to break ground, it's not going to break to a certain extent. And so it's the fact that your ideas or my ideas or anybody's ideas, the fact that there's creative ideas out there that people aren't ready for is further proof that you should put the creative ideas out there, because that's why they're valuable. They're valuable because they break the box open. They're valuable because they innovate. They're valuable because people aren't going to understand it right away, and that's part of the solution. Okay, it's doing something new. And whenever you do anything new in any culture of any kind, it endangers generational cycles, and it endangers all the ignorance we chose as comfort. And that's what creativity is meant to do, is it's meant to artistically question ignorance, and there's never a bad time to question ignorance. You're never going to be fully comfortable with all of the truth. And it's like swimming. Okay? It's let's say you're at a watering pool and it's a nice day, okay, and you're going to go swimming. Or you're at a swimming pool, or you're at a lake or something, okay? And you're dipping your toe in and you're oh, it's still a little cold. I'm going to wait. Well, you're going to wait. Weather's going to change. The water's still probably going to be cold, even in the summer, slightly. Okay, there's never going to be a right time. You just have to wade yourself in. You have to decide, okay, you know what? The water, I'm going to adjust to the water almost. You have to take the jump before the water's warm, and then you warm up to the water. And then when people are oh my gosh, what the heck is this person doing? That water's cold. You're oh no, I adjusted to the water. And it's okay if people don't understand that you're swimming in water that's fine for you, because they haven't adjusted to the water yet. And the reason why the water is valuable is because it's something new that you're adjusting to. So, in essence, the present moment is the perfect opportunity to pursue your creativity, and you should start before you think you're ready, because you'll get ready while you're starting. There's many musicians that have hopped on stages before they knew what they were doing. And they ended up being amazing. There's many poets that, you know, sounded like gibberish at first, and then ended up being some of the greatest poets we know still. You know, Edgar Allan Poe, okay? We're still not ready for him. Okay? In a roundabout way, okay? And his time, even in his time, he spoke weird. And he spoke of weird and dark things. And it's like, his art, you know, it's not something that you get ready for. It's something that's supposed to kind of shock you. It's something that's supposed to take you out of what you are ready for. Yeah, and maybe people will never be ready for you, but that, who cares? Who cares? Because that's not art. Okay, there's 2 David Bowie quotes that come to mind. The first one, never forget that the reason you initially started doing art is to learn more about yourself. And artists make their worst work when they're doing it for others. That's the first David Bowie quote. The second David Bowie quote. And this isn't verbatim, so don't quote me, okay? But when it feels like you're in waters that are just a little bit too deep, is when you're at just the right place, the place of growth, okay? Growth happens in that unreadiness to a certain extent. You can always prepare for Armageddon, but there's always going to be things that you learn during the Armageddon that you didn't prepare for because you haven't been in Armageddon before. Not saying that creating art is like Armageddon, but it kind of is in a way. But that's, you know, it is what it is. It's like art is kind of the creative fight between, you know, love, truth, and ignorance and denial. And so you're going to learn things about yourself while you're performing the art that you wouldn't have known before. And there's nothing you can do. You can't. There's just some things that you're not going to be able to learn until you're actually putting the brush to paper, or brush to canvas, until you're actually speaking those words out loud. Even me right now, completely improvised. Majority of my art, whether it's dancing, like canvas, or singing, or fashion, you know, makeup, voice, like, you know, everything I do to a certain extent is improvised. And it's because I learn new things about the art as I'm performing. And, you know, when it comes to music, you can have a million different ideas of how something is going to sound. But until you actually are strumming the guitar, playing the drum, whatever you're doing, okay? Until you're actually making those notes, you won't actually know, you know? And to a certain extent, there's nothing that can prepare you for that other than the actual practice itself. And so just practice your art, always. Practice your art. I think that's a Bruce Lee quote, or like a Bruce Lee like diagram of some sort. I've been seeing it. It's like, if you're a student, you should practice. If you haven't practiced yet today, you should practice. If you're a master, you should practice. If, you know, if you have nothing to practice, look at what you already know and then practice that, you know. Or have you learned something new? No? Practice, okay? Like, practice before you're ready, and you will get ready. You get ready by getting ready. I know, it sounds so silly, and I don't even know if it makes full sense, but, you know, get ready while you're getting ready. So get ready. Have fun, Speak, sing, make weird noises, and you're going to learn what noises you actually do like. It'll be awesome. Yeah. And that's where you get your most raw and authentic self. You don't get your most raw and authentic self by doing every little thing the script tells you to do. And, you get your raw, authentic self by, in that improvisation, in doing things before you're ready, you get your authentic self. Because you don't have any time to, intricately craft a mask before you're doing it. So when you just do it before you're ready, it's more raw that way, in a way. Versus when you're, over preparing all the little things, It's when you're too prepared to create art, you're almost cutting pieces of yourself away to a certain extent. When you overanalyze every detail, and when you're overcritical of everything you do before you even do it, you're literally cutting down, watering down pieces of yourself that if you would put out there raw and authentic, it could have been so beautiful, but you cut it down, and so the art is probably not going to be as profound. Honestly, that's just art. Art is an expression of self, and the more raw and authentic an expression of self is, the more raw and authentic the art is, the more profound it is. Profoundness is found in authenticity. Okay, the most profound things are authentic. And so the way you dive into that authenticity is by doing things before you're ready. Because you're ready now. You've been preparing your entire life for the present moment. And so, yeah. I feel like I'm slightly beating a dead horse at this point. But that's okay, that's art. It's like a spiral. It's not a straight line. That's life. Life is an art piece. And you're gonna beat a few dead horses. That's life. You're gonna go back to places you once visited, and you're gonna look at them through new eyes, sometimes through old eyes. And you're gonna get little pieces of wisdom, and it's awesome. And honestly, that's what art is all about, is wisdom. And gaining more understanding about yourself and the world around you through expression. So express now, and you'll learn new things. I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Alli Talks. Peace!